Hey everyone, you're here with Mark on Perfect Gardens TV. So got a great comment from Israel Kamakawui. The max yield or a schedule are not my biggest concern. I heard that if I wait too long, chances of getting a harvest product which will lock me on my couch. Okay, so yes, you're correct. If you wait longer to harvest your plant, you're going to have higher couch lock. Why is that? That's because the plants have cannibalized more of the terpenes to produce more cannabinoids. And the predominant cannabinoid that gets grown nowadays is THC. THC is going to make you tired, okay? The uppity feeling, the excited feeling, the couch lock feeling, or not the couch lock feeling, but part of it. The hungry feeling, the medicine properties, those are all in the terpenes. That's what controls the high. The THC and the cannabinoids kind of lock it. The terpenes control the experience, right? So if you want more terps, more flavor, more all that stuff, well, I would still recommend that you do your best to max out that yield on that plant as much as possible so you have the most amount of medicine. But then what's going to speed up the process is speeding up the drying process quicker, right? If you speed up the drying process, less enzymatic reactions happen, and the plant cannibalizes less terpenes during the curing process into cannabinoids. Okay, so why do people not do this more often? Well, a lot of people, if they dry too quickly, it turns to dust. We're dealing with the herb, and then the product isn't as valuable. When it loses its water content completely or goes too low, I've also found myself not get as high, So mastering that technique of being able to cure the product quickly as fast as possible so that less cannabinoids are created and more terps are left over is going to be important. And what I do personally is what I recommend is using the products that I recommend, the Organoshield, Drops Balance, BAM, whatever liquid nutrients dry amendment you're using. If you produce a plant that has a high amount of terps in week 5, then there's going to be more than enough terps left behind and are never cannibalized by the cannabinoids, even if you have a 17-day cure process. So that's why I don't recommend people to stress their plants out and do all these things, to stress the plants out while they're growing. I recommend that they produce the highest quality plant all the way through without bugs, without mold, without all this other crap. Make the plant grow as long as possible without over maturing it. That's how I recommend the double harvest process. I also recommend to treat your soil with a rate of 5 mLs per gallon with the Drops Balance. That we've seen that increases your terps, I think, by up to like 70%. And that's huge when, again, during week 5 into flowering, when it's maximizing its terpene production, there'll be more terpenes left behind when it gets to the end of its curing process because the water content on the plant has reduced enough to the point where bacteria are unable to break things down and less enzyme reactions are happening. So, to answer your question is yes, you're going to have more of a couch lock. But the reason why that happened is because you didn't produce enough terps and the plant wasn't healthy enough. So that when it started cannibalizing, it's like the problem started way before you harvest it. That's my point. And if you want to fix the problem, you got to produce the largest amount of terps possible by week 5 into flowering so that there's more than enough after you harvest, after you cure, so that it gives you that experience. Whether it's the uplifting feeling, the energetic experience, the focused experience, the relaxed experience, the terps do that. So that lazy feeling, the problem started way before you harvested too late or the thoughts of you doing that or over curing. It started way in the beginning when you were using dirty water, using contaminated soil, using cheap fertilizer, not watering enough, burning your plants with too much light. That's when the problem started. It didn't start when you started curing. And taking ownership of that and recognizing the things you need to do to prep and how significant it could be or detrimental it could be in your grow. Prep is everything. Anyways, hope this video was helpful on the misunderstanding around terps. Thanks so much and have a great grow. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.